Zekent has always been a top solo queue player. He's like one of the only other sports besides myself that's consistently been around rank 1. And he has always been very good. He was a Janna player just like me back in the day. And he's a very solid pickup by them. I think it was very good for them to pick him up.
Welcome back to the 2014 NA LCS. I would love to see some more love for Janna coming back. That was a great support.
One of your favorite supports, eh?
It is. I do enjoy it. Well, we'll get to see the Zekent Elimination Showdown in just a minute, but first we want to check in with what you in the Twitter sphere have been saying. Earlier we asked you, which champion are you hoping will make its 2014 NA LCS debut next, and why? We've already seen a couple new champs with Urgot and Soraka, but here's what you wrote in with. Poncho970, and Jat is excited about this one. He says, Victor, a great synergy with champions who have lockdown skills and can bring a surprising amount of damage to any team comp.
It's surprising because nobody plays that champion, so you've never come up against it before. But yes, that will definitely work, and you're right. I'm sure Jat was pretty happy with that answer.
Next up, we have Velgar. I'm hoping to see some Xerath come out. I'm always a fan of the long-range siege poke, and that's where Xerath shines.
There's actually a lot of very high-ranked challenger, Xerath players. He's popular up there, but we haven't seen him, brought in. I had really high hopes for Hotshot bringing him in, but not quite yet.
I got a call to the Alex Ish video where the guy flashes with the Xerath Q going off and kills him, and Alex was like, "You can do that?"
Neat little trick. Even Alex is still learning things about the game.
At Relentless Rogue, our next Twitter answer says, the next champion I want to see in the LCS is Sejuani. Her late game potential is huge, and I feel like she's underrated by pros.
Yeah, the early game for her, kind of harsh. I really like the ultimate, though. Brings a whole lot. It's kind of like bringing Ashe onto your team, but
for everyone.
Even bigger.
The South Gulf Sea, our next answer says, Quinn. I think she has a lot of utility and potential to succeed, especially in a split push or fast rotation strategy.
That guy might be in the Dong squad there. Cutie Pie could be playing a Quinn. He plays that a lot in solo queue. I don't think they're going to let him pull it out, though.
As always, thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for the questions and your answers. Now let's send it over to where Freak is joined by some of the members of Team Solomid who can give us an inside view on their 5th win.
Thank you very much, Riv. I am joined here by Bjergsen and Xpecial. Guys, congratulations on your win. Let's start with Champ Select. 5 mid lane bans, and you guys picked up Zed in your first rotation of picks. So 2 questions on this one. First of all, why'd they let you have Zed, and why'd you destroy so hard?
Pretty much, I feel like the only really hard counter to Zed is Kayle, and they decided to ban that out. So I felt really confident early picking Zed. And they banned a lot of other champions that I like playing, like Gragas on the Blanc. So I was like, I just don't see a reason why we wouldn't pick Zed. I was kind of scared that they had another cheese counter to it since they banned Kayle, but they didn't, and it worked out.
So then how do you feel about the Katarina pick here? Because you guys banned 2 mid laners as well, so you clearly were trying to limit Shifter's pool. You killed him at level 6. Tell me about this matchup here.
I think the matchup goes pretty heavily into my favor, which is the same as most Katarina matchups. She's not a strong lane champion. It's more when she gets to team fights, she's really strong. I know people tend to run 21 defense on her just to get past the laning phase with farm, but when you get past the laning phase, she's so strong in team fights. And we even saw the team fight around Baron where Shifter completely destroyed us, because if you don't CC him right away, he just destroys your entire team. Yeah, and we will actually talk about that Baron fight a little bit later. Xpecial, questions for you. You guys had a pretty good time in that bottom lane overall. Seems like you guys were leading most of the time, harassing the Leona around, making things happen. Talk to me just about this 2v2 matchup against this Coast lineup.
So in the new patch, the patch 4.1, we saw a lot more 2v2s. Since the top turret is a lot more tanky, it's hard to do 2v1s, and we expected Leon bottom, and we went bottom. Annie has a strong advantage early on with her long range, her poke, and I started Q that game. That way I can harass my Q and not work with my stun or whatnot, because it's harder. You're not going to kill Leon on level 1. You're just going to want to poke her down a lot. That's pretty much what we did. But then after a while, we were scared of Olaf, as we saw later on around level 3 or 4. He tried to gank us, and I had to blow flash. And after that, we sort of played a bit more safe and allowed Bjergsen just have auto pressure and just crush the game.
Okay, so you guys did talk about the Baron fight a little bit and kind of moving into team fights. We have a replay of the big Baron fight. Not the one where Katarina killed everyone, but the one afterwards where you guys did really well. Let's get that up on the screen, and we're going to start this one pause. So you guys got a little bit low, and you're fighting a Katarina. I want to hear from both of you guys on what you thought coming in, because you know Coast knows you're here, right?
Yeah. I'm just going to do this analysis as the Fisio, because I like the Danish accents. So pretty much we go into the Baron knowing that Olaf is dead. So we know that they don't have Smite ready. So we want to finish the Baron. And he goes for a stun on Riven, but she has Quicksilver Sash. But then we decide to go back and just try to finish the Baron.
So then you come in here and they're like about ready to clean up. What keeps you guys alive when you know there's people ready to get resets on you?
Pretty much we just try to finish the Baron and just get out ASAP. Then we figure out that we can actually keep fighting with me and Audwan just escaping, and then Darius just chases because he's so strong.
All right, well, good job, of course, on that fight. Let me talk to you guys then about the lineup changes you guys made into this season, especially if you want to weigh in on what Bjergsen's done in his replacement over Reginald here.
So obviously our shot calling hasn't been stellar. I mean, we did have that huge blunder where we almost made a Dignitas or XTG Baron throw, like whoever you want to like put that to now. I think everybody has done that.
Sure.
But pretty much generally, Bjergsen has just dominated every single mid laner that he's put against, which is kind of crazy. We pretty much just do a whole, hey, Audwan, just go mid. Every other lane's going to farm, and Bjergsen's just going to do his thing, which is hopefully not going to work out later on to the season as teams start to get better and better. I mean, hopefully Bjergsen gets better too, but I mean, personally, it's kind of frustrating when I see that bot's getting capped really hard, and then I'm like, I really want to carry this game for once, and then Bjergsen's like 20-0, and it's like, okay, I guess maybe next game.
I like how you say hopefully Bjergsen doesn't carry us all the time. Bjergsen, the final question for you, actually. How is it now gelling with TSM? Coming across the continent, right, moving in with these guys. How's TSM working for you?
I just really like it. We're obviously doing fairly well, and I enjoy being at the house. I enjoy hanging out with the guys. It's really nice to have a stable place where we can practice and just live, and I don't know, I just like it overall, and just playing with the guys at LCS is so like energetic, and everyone is just talking so much, and everyone is like so hyped for the match, and it's just awesome to be here.
I like how being in first place is fairly well in your book. So hopefully you guys continue your success. Thank you very much for the interview, and congrats on the first place. And to keep it going, guys, we have more going on. Let's throw it over to Riv and Kobe for the play-by-play of our next match.
Thank you very much, Freak. And it is now time for Meteos and Cloud9 versus I Will Dominate and Curse.
So Curse has actually never beaten Cloud9 in a regular season game, going 0-4 against them in the summer split. But Curse may be riding high off a confident win that they just got, and they've also changed out 3 members. Quas, I Will Dominate, and Zekent all joining the lineup.
All right, and on the flip side, Cloud9 is coming off a loss, but have had a whole week to prepare solely for this match.
So I'm definitely going to be interested to see about the top lane, because Balls was our pick of the week from week 1, and he's really been known for playing a handful of champions in the 2013 summer split, like Rumble, Shen, and Kennen, but then he's playing a whole different handful nowadays. With the new tanky meta, he's going Renekton, Dr. Muno, Shyvana. No big surprises there. Meanwhile, Quas has given us a little insight into the extraordinary champion pool that he has in the top lane, going with that Karthus and Jax as well.
Always keeping it interesting. And with both of these teams, we've seen their junglers, Dominate and Meteos, able to make huge plays and carry their teams to victory.
Exactly. I mean, Meteos was the summer split playoff MVP and considered by many to be one of the best, if not the best, jungler from North America. But there have been a lot of changes to the jungle, and he's going to have to prove himself once again this season. Meanwhile, Dominate is already proving himself. He's had 2 Baron steals that completely changed the direction of the games for Curse and resulted in 2 wins for them.
Anyway, we've talked about this high-profile showdown between I Will Dominate and Meteos, but since the start of the spring split, there's a new law of the jungle, and it's opening up a lot of possibilities.
There are pretty big changes in the jungle. Most notably is that the jungle creeps are a lot stronger now, so it's better to, do a lot of early pressure like ganks and that sort of thing.
I think the jungle should be there for aggression. I think it's a lot more rewarding now to kind of go for early damage and go for early crazier plays, I guess, and be able to kind of farm up later.
Before, junglers struggled building damage. That's why you didn't see many damage builds. Now, with the addition of a couple junglers, they can build all offensive items and be able to be an actual carry, almost as if they were being played in the lane.
There's a lot of new champs. Like the standard, I guess, would be like Elise, Vi, Olaf. Those would probably be like the 3 go-tos, and then from there you kind of branch into like everything.
You can play Jungle Gragas, Jungle Riven, Jungle Mundo, Jungle Shyvana. It's going to be a lot of excitement, at least for me. I really like playing all these champions. That's something that I've never been able to do for 3 years, so it's pretty cool.
And the greatest thing is that list keeps on going, especially if you're Diamond, Jungle Shen, Jungle Zed.
As Dominate said, it branches into everything after that.
So as the teams make their final preparations, let's send it down to Jap for a unique insight into Cloud9's mental state.
Thank you very much, Riv. And of course, I'm with Dan Din, the Cloud9 life coach, but you actually had a pretty long night last night that may have affected your preparation today.
Yeah, last night was a really long night. I think I was just playing a league game, and my brother's like, hey, Dan, I need you. I need you really quick. You got to come now. And he brings me into the restroom, and he points into the toilet bowl. He's like, do you know what that is? I was like, yeah, it's blood. It's like, I did that 3 times already. I'm like, you need to go to the hospital. And so fortunately, like, we're just really close. So I took him to the hospital, and I stayed with him until like 4 in the morning to make sure he's all right. But it was a rough night last night for me.
So not only are you Cloud9's life coach, you're taking care of your brother, the owner of TSM as well. How do you deal with helping out kind of both teams and having no conflict of interest?
I think the biggest thing is when I first joined Cloud9, Jack asked me, is like, do you want to help out with like the analysis on top of just helping him out with like the day-to-day activities, making sure that they're taken care of and okay? And I thought, I'm so involved with TSM that if I am involved with C9 in that aspect, there's definitely some conflict of interest. So I opted to just make sure that C9 is taken care of, they're healthy, and they have what they need to have to do what they need to do and perform at their best.
Yeah, and also, just speaking about last week a little bit, you guys lost the last game to Dignitas, and since you're not involved in the strategy, what was the team's mindset like dealing with that loss?
I think the team was, they're a little shocked, a little bit, because they definitely went in there expecting to win against Dignitas. But, the part of just helping them get back on their feet is just, I told them, it's everybody has a bad game, and it's about getting back into the game. And once in a while you have a loss, have an upset, and that's not the end of the world. They know they're a good team, and that's probably just a one-off situation.
And what do you think the mindset is today for you guys coming into this game, trying to get the win in the week?
Curse has been doing really well. They've been performing exceptionally well. So they know it's going to be a hard game. They're definitely not taking this lightly. So they're going to go in and just try their best.
All right, Dan, thank you very much for the interview. Good luck to your brother and also for Cloud9. Hope he feels better. And let's send it back to the desk to get into the action.
Thank you very much, chat, and let's get right to it. Let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Cloud9. In the top lane is Balls, Meteos in the jungle, High in mid lane, Sneaky at AD carry, and Elimination on support.
And on the red side, it's Curse. Up top is Quas in the jungle. I will dominate at mid Voyboy. On AD carry, Cop is doing something with his extra headphones there.
Headphone jazz hands.
Supporting him is going to be Zekid. All he can do is really laugh at him.
Headphone jazz hands. I have a buddy that does that. Whenever he's going for an intense situation, then he goes down, he's like, oh! And then
Cop's got 2 pairs there, though.
I know. Double jazz hands. He's working on different dance moves.
Oh,
here.
Man, they prepped that. Come on. That's not.
He knew. He was like, Garen will type to him in chat when the camera kind of goes around. He's like, you guys are on screen, so that's why they're derpy sometimes.
Yeah, and the first thing that come to his mind,
oh, shake my headphones. Well, even if you remember back to PAX and some of the bumper videos, you had Curse sitting there, and Cop would always be dancing. He's always moving, getting himself ready.
He's a very energetic guy.
Yeah, he is. He's quiet, though. If you ever talk to him, he's kind of quiet, but then you just see him. He's ready to go.
All of his energy goes into hand movements. It's not coming out as vocal.
Well, let's see if they are good enough hand movements to go into this bottom lane. We heard Lemonation and Zekent talking a little bit. Lemonation giving respect to that high level of Zekent. He's always been top tier, and so has Lemonation.
So, yeah, going over this bottom lane here, Cop and Zekent, there's a strong duo, but Cop has used pretty much the same champions that Sneaky's been using. Both of them have been playing Caitlyn and Lulu.
Right.
Just Caitlyn and Lulu both. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually switch off of that, because a lot of times Jinx is really hotly contested, but neither of these guys have really jumped on that train.
We'll see. The train's been moving pretty fast today with the variation of champions we have. So somebody else might jump on for us. We saw Urgot Soraka last time, Kobe.
I don't think we'll see that this time around, but I do want to point out that this is like a only Curse-specific ban here. We don't see this ban against any other North American teams. The Pantheon taken out once again, just because they had that one game where Dominate just kind of went crazy on Pantheon, and all of his long-range initiates seemed to work out. It can backfire, as we've seen a lot of other teams have tried to use the jungle Pantheon and haven't met with the same success.
No, RNA actually didn't really work that too well in Europe, so it has had mixed results. We see Gragas being banned out as well, and that's, I feel, more of a jungle ban for Curse than it is actually going to Voyboy.
Yeah, Dominate's pretty flexible in the jungle, we'll say. He has played a bunch of different champions. Wukong, definitely one of the other...
Brought that guy out.
Less used, but very powerful champions. it really depends on what kind of strategy Curse are going to use on the day, because they can easily play standard and play tanky meta and just go with strong front line, but they can also go full assassin on you and look for snowballs.
Yep. Thresh being picked up. Really, no bans, not no bans, but less bans being focused for supports as we go through these games. And we see Bloodwater picking up Sona, which nobody else is. So these guys like to fall back to the Thresh, still in the top tier.
Yeah, Thresh's been first picked a lot. It's still a very strong champion. You can't really get around the utility of Lantern. That nobody else can bring anything like that to the table. So that uniqueness really doing a lot for them. And the Caitlyn, highly prioritized in this specific matchup, is actually first picked.
Cop will be quite happy with that. And I think Dignitas really the only other team that's been focusing an AD carry to start off. And Cop has been playing quite well. He was making moves on Lucian the other day during 3v2 ganks that they were able to counter.
As Caitlyn, definitely going to be looking for tower damage. So that's duo is probably going to go to the bottom lane, as a lot of people are making that standard now. And an Annie Caitlyn lane has ridiculously long range from their auto attacks and great harass. As we've seen, the Annies that start out with Q instead of W, they don't charge up their W for the stun and just go for early lane harass. Spamming Qs on you with a Dorange ring is going to get them the early shove that they want.
It's been a while since Sneaky brought out the Draven.
So that was what he started out on.
Yep.
And he's going right back to this. It's a very snowbally champion. It's actually C9 that are going a little bit more snowball here, as they have the high pressure early jungle in Elise, and they have the AD carry that if you come down there and get an early gank for him, he can easily come back to lane with a straight BF sword at like 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes even.
Crushing power of catching those Axe. And not going to do it. 24 seconds left on the clock for Curse. We see that Elise was picked up for Meteos. Really, he is in comfort zone. That's his pretty much top tier pick right now for his jungle.
Meteos has only played by an Elise so far. It's the only junglers he's going with. And that's considered by a lot of people, as we saw in the video, top tier. Those two plus Olaf. Those are the only things that he's been going back to. Meanwhile, as we said, Dominate branching out. He's following some of those other paths here. Wukong built full damage. I really love in this new patch, because of the changes to the Spirit Stones, where you get health and mana back in the jungle. If you go damage, then it helps you a lot, because you'll be coming out full health no matter what anyway. So I think the Spirit of the Elder Lizard has really shot up for me. It used to be the Ancient Golem was ahead above everything else, but I really like that Elder Lizard one now, and Wukong uses it very well.
We'll see if he can do it. Looks like he'll be with the team, as again, Quaz is going to be off doing that Jack split pushing, I should say, and farming. But I was going to say, we haven't seen High's LeBlanc, and that just went all the way through.
Ooh, LeBlanc locked in. Voyboy has actually played 5 different champions in 5 games so far, so he has no pattern that you can follow. LeBlanc is a pretty good all-around pick, though, because she has assassination potential on pretty much anybody. It's also been a very long time since we've seen this Rumble. Talked about Balls earlier. He sort of went back to his old handful of champions that he used to use.
Remember the game that they kept banning Renekton against Balls, and he's like, all right, I'll pick Rumble over and over. And we asked him in the interview, he's like, I don't know why they don't think I'm a factor on Rumble. And he's one of those players, Balls himself, that mentally can go behind in the early game and will still have a great impact late game.
It's an interesting matchup here, too. If he takes that Rumble, the reason they take it so much is because Cloud9 love those dragon control, the dragon fights very early, and they bring him for that ultimate. Going up against Jax, though, towards the later game, Jax is going to be trying to get just a lot of farm for himself, a little bit more selfish play, so he can be that split pusher. Whereas if Rumble keeps joining team fights and going to dragons and leaving lanes, it's going to allow Jax to get that solo farm up, and it's going to be the split pushing power versus the team-oriented build.
We see the Vladimir being locked in here. I think it was Benny with XDG who would use this. They use it as like the kind of damage amplification composition. And it just really works out great with the Hemo Plague, and you got Cyclone spinning on around that. Should be an interesting comp.
2 pretty good AoEs right there. The Wukong ultimate, you really need to get off a good one. And it's not that easy because the long range isn't really there. You have to use your invisibility to get in and then pop that thing off in the middle.
See if they can get into range for it. It's going to happen at least once or twice during the game, but as the teams load onto the Rift, let's check out who you think is going to come out on top. And according to LOLesports.com, 75% of you think Cloud9 are going to fly off with the win. And I think that actually is a little low to me considering, you know, the Cloud9 fan base that has been coming back. But maybe Curse has really done, you know, numbers for themselves and people are getting behind them.
Still definitely.
It's still very high, but look at the percentage we had last game, right? It was like a 94.
I think that's the highest percentage that we've had.
Here, right.
Yeah.
NA had the 95, or EU had the 95, I should say. But we'll see what they can do. It is going to be very hard for Curse. I would not want to be them right now with a hungry Cloud9 coming off a loss. They're just standing on the train tracks right now.
But you talked about, you know, the pretty big percentage, I guess, you know, going up against Cloud9. For Curse there, they've gained a lot of fans with these sort of unorthodox picks. And it's for good reason, because they've been successful with them over and over again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the Rift here. Third game of the day and day 2. We'll see what they have for each other. It looks like the Orthodox Trinket starts, but the sweeper for Elimination. So we'll see if that leaves Meteos chances to come down in the open up bottom lane.
Yes, starting out with a sweeper means they might actually look for a level 1 action. It's very rare nowadays, but that's one of those things that could tip you off because besides the early wards that are placed from these trinkets, there's nothing else to clear out, and there's almost no reason to grab that unless you're going for some sort of early action.
All quiet on the home front.
Now, the other thing he could do with it is wait until he sees someone in the bottom lane go ward. Since there's 2 spots you have to ward as this red side, the Tribush and the river. If he clears one of those out, then just having Meteos on Elise will make the other team play more passive. And that could relieve some pressure because this Curse lane, if they are left unchecked, we talked about the very long range that they have.
Yeah.
They can actually put a lot of early aggression down.
I actually didn't see what Zekent leveled there quick.
Well, he's got his stun already, so going with the W.
Oh, he has a W up. All right. Can't charge that with anything unless you're going to use the shield. Not very effective.
Touche. He could have started shields, but then he won't be able to use the stun because he can't activate it.
Exactly. So we have 1 minute 47 seconds on the clock, and nobody has decided to invade. Once again, the wards have gone down, so we'll see them being cleared out as the junglers try to approach the lanes. Who will have the mistakes made by that time? We'll have to see if it really comes down to High and Voyboy. They're going to be slow farming for now. They really don't get too much wave clear for another few levels.
And I'm still going to keep my eye on this sweeper from Lemonation because he did not use it for level 1 invade. Both of the duo lanes decided not to help their junglers and opt for early pushing on minions. It's actually very surprising that the C9 team actually got that early push going. I guess Draven with double spinning axes already. You have to respect that early damage amplification.
And they're still going straight for the push in the lane. They're not freezing this whatsoever. We'll see what they can do to keep themselves back. That leaves Meteos other lanes to focus, though, if they are going to be pushed up and not needing the counter gank. Dominate now on his red. He's a little bit behind on Meteos. I don't think it should cause too much of a problem.
Yeah, so Elise is a jungler that has no problems if she doesn't get any help because she can use her spiderlings to tank them, and she has so much percentage damage just starting off early that she can handle them herself. Whereas Wukong definitely would love that leash, but their bottom lane didn't want to sacrifice any time. Just happened that they got pushed in anyway.
Dominate looking for the top lane. Rumble's one of those champions, very hard to gank, but he's actually on silence from the overheat. Not too much crowd control he has to deal with here as Quas is a little too far behind for the counter-strike.
A little bit of body block right there, not able to get in range to land the stun.
So already aggression showed by Dominate. He went straight from those buffs and then back towards that top lane to really make something happen.
And you can see Meteos instantly reacting to Dominate showing in lane. Boom, he goes for the counter jungle, immediately heads to the opposite side, probably going to leave at least one wolf there.
You can see Hai trying to make that even easier as he puts damage on Voyboy. Neither of them, or neither, but he won't be able to help dominate if he gets to the jungle and finds Meteos.
And the thing about counter jungling the blue side is that the white camp, you can't leave anything up since he's all by himself there, and it will respawn anyway. Basically, Meteos taking that is just him trying to take the gold that's closest to him. He's just trying to not waste time over there because it is a very effective camp. Pumped up to 65 gold now is actually should be the highest priority one, and Elise is one of the best champions in the game at taking that camp down even early,
Taking down
many other people struggle.
The rest of his wolves, he's going to find that that white is gone as well, so he knows Meteos is somewhere in the bottom side of the jungle. Very nice pool coming in from Voyboy. He's going to have to stay careful.
And the auto laugh from Vlad, classic. It's very hard to gank the Vlad early. I mean, unless you get there before, level 1 or level 2, before he levels up that pool, he doesn't have to burn summoners to dodge those things.
And Meteos looks like he's going to stay on a rampage right now. He's going straight to the top lane with the idea of either getting these golems or finding Dominate and Quaz.
A dive would definitely be dangerous because Jax can pop his Counter-Strike, and Dominate is feeling the same thing here. So he actually wastes some time because Dominate's able to smite away that golem. Meteos losing a bit of time with a couple unsuccessful moves mid and top.
So the lanes can breathe easy for about half a second, knowing what the junglers are as they disappear back into the fog. Meteos is still, he doesn't even want his own jungle. He has taken over curses.
So he does miss out on the double golem, the large double golem, but he gets the large wraith. The large double golem actually worth more there. So pretty good exchange as far as these jungles are concerned.
Very nice play there, equalizing the net distance with the caliber. Or with the chain, I should say. Coming up on 6 minutes, a lot of and great aggression from Meteos, and both Dominate trying to get themselves into the mix here.
Now, Vladimir surviving very early here is great for Curse. Voyboy does not have kill potential on LeBlanc because he's got a jungle Wukong. Before Wukong hits level 6, there's only damage from that mid lane. There's no CC at all. He can barely get a little slow by using his pool. So it's pretty much all the moves to be made there or in Hai and Meteos' court, since they're the ones with that kill potential in that 2 vs 2 matchup.
Looks like they're trying to bait Quaz into something, get that stun under the turret, and then the repel for the aggro. He's not going to attack him just yet. Will it be first for Meteos? Meteos does go for the aggression first, but he repelled in, but Balls' Flame Spitter actually took that. It doesn't matter. They get first blood.
Such a beautiful job by Balls baiting out the jump and the counter-strike of Quas. After those 2 cooldowns have been used, you can see how Meteos did not hesitate to repel in, and they go for the dive. That was just purely an outplay.
Hai gets caught up there. Hemoplague won't be enough to put down the rest of the damage, but he does keep him from backing.
Yeah, Flash for Ignite trade right there. Flash is a longer cooldown, so it's a pretty good trade for Voyboy. And it also did delay a backing here for Hai. A whole minion wave will kill itself on the turret.
The jungler is actually doing a good bit of vision control here. A pink and a regular vision ward being picked up to be put around the map, which isn't there yet. The whole map is covered in fog right now, so both teams with their hard hats on.
I do like the very early pink ward, especially from the jungler, because they're roaming around and they can place it in those hard-to-get areas. So this pink ward from Dominate will probably last the longest that a pink ward will last in this game, since he got it so early. And really, it's only the junglers making roam so far. With Hai hitting 6, though, if he's able to get off a good roam, then we've seen so many times how LeBlanc can snowball out of control.
She has a 100% win rate in the North American LCS in her 3 picks in the first week, so there's really no reason if a team mains that to let it go, and we'll see if Hai has been kind of training that under his champion pool.
So he's preempting a roam top here by warding in that little bush along the path that he would take up. So he can see if any defensive wards are placed by Curse. Really, if you place your ward first, not only do you get vision, but you're also aware of the enemy's wards. So you can work around the vision that you know they have.
And you can see that Voyboy, he doesn't really itemize into the Chalice. He has to go straight Negatrons because he has no need for that regen.
Yeah, early Negatron pickup here. And he's going up against a magic-heavy damage team. So LeBlanc and Rumble, just those 2 solo laners, are enough to validate that item pickup. But when
yeah.
you're facing the jungler of Elise too, it seems like definitely the way to go here. And I like that early pickup.
It is something we didn't really notice in Champion Select, a very AP-heavy rounded team coming from Cloud9. We'll see if it comes back to bite them. They've gotten first blood with it so far. So far, so good. 9 minutes on the clock along with that first. And you can see the transfusion is canceling out that W damage as they trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's very AP heavy, but one of the APs is getting beat on pretty good here.
Cyclone goes down. They're just sitting on the equalizer, but it's not going to be enough damage overall. Ball's going down.
Great use by Dominate. As soon as he, got that level 6, he's looking to make a play with Cyclone. So visits from both junglers top and kills for both top laners.
I like that. Dominate stayed true to the top lane, get the retribution kill because Quaz was taken out earlier, so he's giving back a little. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. We'll see if they trade it back at the end. Lemonation and Sneaky, they've been here the whole time in this lane.
Looking for a kill under turret.
Oh, it's going to be big. The chain's going to hit. The Ignite is on. One more tick, but he's going to live with a sliver.
Just barely not getting it, and he actually pops his own passive there by tanking so many turret hits. That high is now really low. So really all he got out of that, even though it was a great play, shoving a minion wave into the turret again.
You can't always perfectly dodge every death sentence. A nice stand aside. He does not follow up with the catch on the axe.
Man, Sneaky on Draven is just beasting this lane right now. He is destroying 100 CS already, and he's been stacking up Adoration this entire time. If they get off a gank bottom and he gets the last hit, he's going to get more than that Bloodthirster, and he's going to be more than enough AD damage that even though Cloud9 have all those AP threats we talked about, a Draven who gets one of those early kills and a good lane phase is going to be more than enough to worry about to make Curse buy armor.
Sneaky's just one of those players with the flip the switch mentality, whether he needs to be utility or this aggressive type for his team. He's just very good at it.
He's great at CS too. I mean, that's spot on. 107 here at 11 minutes. And because they're able to shove up the lane, not only do they get control of that lane, but they're also able to get Dragon with the early Dragon taking potential of Elise there. Nice little move, even though they didn't clear out that pink ward. That little bush, all you got to do is just make a habit. You have to train yourself, always, if you're going through that river.
Oh, Lemonation a little too far forward. That sweeper is still on cooldown. There are a lot of wards around you, Lemonation, that need to be swept.
Another lane gank from Dominate. Wukong excelling at those lane ganks because you can get that invisibility to get in range for your Nimbus Strike and the dash. Able to close the distance there, even though it was well played by Lemon. You saw the flash go off immediately after the play. Close to getting out, but not enough.
They knew they had a good amount of power in that lane. It looks like they weren't able to use it in the right instance. We're going to have a quick pause here. We look at Voyboy's inventory, and that Negatron cloak quickly goes into that cloak, so he'll be quite good on that. Spectre's Cowl, sorry.
Yeah, he could go that route, or he could even build the AoE magic reduction that he could get from the Abyssal Scepter. A little bit more offensive build there. But yeah, Voyboy's really just biding his time. Even though we saw him pop a couple summoners, both mid laners got really close to killing each other, actually.
In that top lane, it's actually going quite well for quite back and forth for them. And with how good Sneaky's doing on Draven, it's kind of relaxing the pressure on the lanes. Even if Balls does get ganked again, Sneaky's so far ahead. And like we've said, Balls can always come back. Cloud9's in a pretty good spot so far in this game right now.
Yeah, and you can actually really tell that when we bring up the map once again, their ward coverage is intense right now. They've got both sides actually of the river really blanketed in vision right now. So the only way that Dominate can get off successful ganks is coming through lane and using the visibility, which is exactly what he's doing. So you have to tip your hat to him as well.
Yeah, he found it in the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
He got one to work. And we said Lemonation Sweeper was on cooldown during that gank, so they were getting a little antsy with the comfortability in lane. And it took them, they took it for granted. They were able to get a kill on Curse's side. Right now we're getting Dominate reconnected to the game after his gank. He just ganked so hard he broke his game.
You gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, I can't gank so strong. Bringing out the Wukong though, we've been kind of tacking on to Dominate that he's been using the Gragas. He's been bringing out the Wukong, the Pantheon, so he's keeping the versatility going, and it's actually really having that come out of the jungle is nice for your team in picks and bans.
Especially since they do need a nice another source of damage for this team.
And everybody's saying that's working now. Damage junglers are kind of...
It really works with Wukong, especially when he hits that level 11 and get level 2 ultimate. The damage just shoots through the roof. It starts out at only 80 damage a second, which is almost nothing. And once it gets another level, or is it's 80 total, it shoots through the roof. It's so much.
Right.
It turns just from that knock-up CC into an actual killing potential with it.
We'll see. We haven't really seen the Cyclone come into play except for on balls in the top lane, but that was with the help of Quaz, and we figured that's going to turn into a split push situation. So.
It's 80 damage total.
Okay.
That's why I'm so surprised. I was like, 80 damage total from your ultimate. It's not much.
So we make sure that everything's still locked in for Dominate. We have to think of, coming into this game, the LeBlanc for high. It's not something that he's really played. He's kind of always had his champion pool of Gragas, unfortunately Teemo, and playing Riven sometimes. But he's not had the greatest, set of games. So this LeBlanc could be what they need, and another ban that would open up those champions again for him.
He does like playing a lot of assassins, but they're usually the AD assassins.
That's right.
You're right. He likes to play Kha'Zix and Riven and stuff like that. So LeBlanc a little bit different. Got to keep track of all your double W teleports.
And this pause looks like Balls actually has a bit of a tick with his peripheral, so he's going to get that fixed up. You want to make sure your mouse and your keyboard work well. Sometimes they just kind of power themselves off, and then you just replug them back in. Technology happens.
Man, you should be IT man there, Riv. Have you tried turning it on and off? Yes?
Is it plugged in? Are you clicking the right mouse button?
Go help out Cloud9. I think they need to call in Dan maybe.
Got it.
A couple too many problems there.
Absolutely. Starting into this game, it is 15, or starting in, halfway through, we said that Draven, Sneaky, has a ton of CS, and it's actually about 1,000 gold lead that has accrued coming in, even though First Blood went back and forth, and it went with an assist to Curse's side on their second. So we'll see if the money stays in their favor. Not too much on the Dragon front just yet. We just see Cloud9 with aggression.
Yeah, the bottom lane seems calm now, just because the Curse lane is giving up ground, but it's a powder keg ready to explode. As soon as Sneaky gets that first kill and cashes in all that adoration, it's going to be really, really rough.
Boy hitting that level 9, which means Transfusion is doing its max level. He's able to get a good amount of health back and start that wave clear out. So they may be starting to roll him a little bit more from mid.
Wow, and he's going super defensive, like you said. He's going for the Spectre's Cowl.
Yeah.
Not even going for the Abyssal Scepter there. So he will be lacking some damage. To be said, this is a great laning build against, LeBlanc. But he's going to be lacking damage for the team fights. Maybe the next dragon that does come up, he might not be able to add a whole lot.
Quaz getting hit up once again. A little focus here. Now Meteos wants to give the help back over to Balls, and they are going to be able to take down Quaz.
Great ultimate and great job there tanking the turret with Elise because she can disengage whenever she wants to, getting low. And then here we go, hooking in the clone, not the ideal situation.
I like the patience on everybody in Cloud9 that they didn't explode the clone right away. They're like, we think it's the clone. Voyboy up in the top lane to stop a little bit of that pressure. And it looks like they're just trying to even everything out before they really make a move. We're only 13:48 into this one, and both teams kind of in their face in the bottom lane. It's the one we've been looking at, Lemonation and Zkent, and they're both trying to get their 80s kills.
Yeah, like we said, that one's just waiting to explode. But it's interesting how Voyboy, he built really heavy for that lane. He can actually switch lanes because that build will work really well going into Rumble as well.
Right.
And he's just looking to farm up towards that late game since he's going such a defense-heavy build here.
Just getting Quaz on a quick reconnect. He's sitting in that top lane looking at the Cutlass build, Blade of the Rune King, but he's also put the Hex Drinker on himself because he's dealing with some magic damage from, as we said, Elise, Rumble. Those are painful ganks.
And they just burned right through that Hex Drinker in the last one there, too. So even itemizing for it hasn't been able to survive. A couple of successful moves there from Elise going up top.
That's always something that's scary when the other team is kind of forcing you to put a few extra items in your build. It puts a kink in that when you get there. Because Balls hasn't had to be like, I need to build a ton of something I won't use. He's got the armor that'll change into Randuin's he uses later, or maybe the Zanyas he builds right away.
And interested to see where Ball's next move is because they took down the top turret and shoved up the minion wave. That's a lot of gold there that Curse has to farm very far away from Dragon. So they've set up for the next Dragon pretty well here. They just need it to spawn now on the map, and then they can go for it.
It's going to be a big pickup. As we said, the gold lead's 2K, stretching a little bit. It was 1K, and just between that pause with that kill onto Quaz, they were able to get a little bit more. So they're taking advantages when they can and definitely adapting to the movement of Curse. See what Sneaky can do. He's back to lane. We just saw him get pushed out. Elimination looking to be safe that they're not going to get sneakily ganked here on the bottom lane.
Sneaky will not be sneakily ganked because Dominate's going to take his blue first.
So much CS though, 140 to 93. The closest is Void Boy, and we know Vlad's an exceptional farmer in the game, but still, you got single target Draven. Dominate getting a little bit of harassed. That's a wall right there, high.
Nobody saw that. Lemon's got your back. He made it over with that. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's why he's there. Nothing to see here.
3 pink wards down here for Cloud9 on their own side of the map. These pink wards aren't even placed in enemy territory. These are not offensive pink wards.
No, the regular ones are up there.
Yeah, so the regular ones, which...
Wow.
Wow, 4 pink wards down on the map already at 14 minutes here for Cloud9.
And they have 3 sweepers. That's weird.
Dangerous red buff invade here.
Very dangerous.
They don't have jungler.
A lot of movement coming up. And like you said, 4 pink wards. Vision ward definitely being one right now. And I only see 1, 2 wards for Curse.
Quas is going to get this, but Balls has vision because of that pink ward, and Quas knows that pink ward is still there. They only hit it twice.
Yeah, Quas is definitely communicating. You can see on the bottom right of your screen, he's talking it out with the team. Their focus is a bit on this bottom lane, but nobody else is really hovering down. Going to be focused here onto Void Boy.
So they've almost got Sneaky to the point where they're fine leaving him solo. And Elimination, it opens him up to roam around the map to make plays or to help High get over those walls that he face plants into.
It's good that Cop has actually got the Bloodthirster in his hands. He can start charging that up and somewhat combat the damage that Sneaky has, but not if he's been catching axes all day long. They have a great lane going on in the bottom between Sneaky and Elimination right now, and nothing that Meteos has really had to tag on.
Yeah, has most of his visits have been top here. I'm surprised that they weren't able to make anything happen pretty early in the mid lane, but as we saw, Vladimir, very annoying champion to gank, especially in a short lane, because he does have that pool and invulnerability.
Once you get a bit more health, you can try to just walk along with him after the pool and take him out. But
yeah, actually, got to correct myself there. It's you just can't target him. He's not invulnerable. That's a mistake a lot of people make. You can still kill him.
Right,
like
he holds
Ignite.
You saw the chain on him earlier.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Getting the W wave cleared down. And we're going to see High. He's getting up there in CS. He has just broken the 100 mark, but he's still about 30 behind Void Boy. Crushing down the waves with Tides of Blood and Transfusion and allowing himself to roam, but it's only really been in the jungle. And that's where Meteos has been. Always invading.
Yeah, we saw a lot of early movements from both junglers and successful ganks by both. But it's calmed down so much here. You can tell that Cloud9 were just waiting for that dragon to respawn. And they're making the call already as they do it for LeBlanc to rotate up top so they don't lose out on the minion wave either. They're trying not to sacrifice anything for this dragon and just gain that global gold pretty much without having to sacrifice anything.
Curse? Oh, they don't want to go to the turret. Yeah, we see Cop and Zcant stopping halfway up the hill, and it looks like they're going to head back home. Cop in the mid lane, though, as we said before, Vladimir not the best turret taker-downer.
Yeah, Void Boy, especially going super defense here. You know, High is having to work overtime, just bouncing back and forth between top and mid lane, trying to clear waves once they get to the turrets. But he's the perfect champion to do that, because he can keep hopping this blue wall. He's jumped over the golem wall 3 times already.
There he is into the top lane. And the rest of the team kind of switches up here. Now they're going to put the force into the mid, looking to crush down a structure on mid objective.
I'm really waiting for Curse's first move because they've got the flashes on their amazing crowd control. Annie into Wukong, into Vladimir, into even a counter-strike from Jax.
Oh, man.
Could be. Potentially, on paper, that sounds like, yeah.
It always sounds
if
good when you say
Cloud9
them.
are together, that is going to be one hell of a combo. But hard to pull that off because Cloud9 are very adept at playing against these team fighting combos that use area of effect CC. We saw them defeat CLG, even though CLG had a great similar composition with area of effect CC. They just spread out so well during the team fights and then re-engage after the abilities are down.
It's all about that kite and fight right now. The champions that are very mobile and able to pretty much change your mind about the fight as soon as you hit it. That's a LeBlanc. That's a Meteos coming in with all their damage. Balls in the mid lane now, as we see, it's still a lot of rotation, but it looks like it's all in Cloud9's control.
And they're sticking with Quas solo farming. As we said, he's going to try and get to the point where he can be a strong split pusher. Without teleport, though, he's going to have to actually be able to defeat his opponent and create the pressure there. So he really needs a lot of help here because with the repeat visits from Meteos, he hasn't gotten that nice early lead. And having to go with that Hexstringer delayed his combo of the Trinity Force plus the Blade of the Ruin King.
Another Hexdrinker being built up on to dominate. Very favorable item against this AP-heavy team. Needlessly large rod for high as they're now able to get that bit of that explosive damage out. We're not going to quite see somebody get zeroed out with a Deathfire Grass Pit just yet. But a 3,000 gold lead means that it's Curse trying to protect their turrets right now, and Cloud9 poking away.
Since Cloud9 do not want to dive this turret, they have to make high rotate once again. They pull off the 5-man mid and send him up top to clean the minion wave. As soon as it gets there, he's able to arrive in time. And again, non-action from both teams here.
And how do you actually, when you're being sieged by a team with a Rumble, how do you even get back on them if you want to? Because you're just going to equalizer.
So the flashes, like I said, are all up here. If Curse want to initiate, they can pull the trigger. They just have to be sure that it's a good spot, and they need to land those abilities on multiple people. Because if they don't, and Cloud9 are able to dodge,
It's got to be the on-paper all.
The re-engage here is intense from Cloud9. They can turn on single targets very easily.
We'll see what happens. Cop goes back to the bottom lane. Looks like Sneaky hasn't left that for quite some time either. 215 CS 20 minutes into the game. He is going to be a big Draven.
And that defensive line of pink wards that we pointed out earlier is still up. That's why I like using them as defensive wards, because Curse will not make a lot of passes through your bushes on your side of the map. So they'll last for a very long time, whereas they used mostly yellow wards when they were in Curse's side. And those ones, invisible, you're going to have to get some sort of sweeper or pink ward of your own to pull them out.
And I feel like that works even better with how much Meteos was counter-jungling, because we haven't even seen Dominate try to cross that river and get any camps of his. So those wards are alive for days.
Yeah, the lone pink ward in Curse's jungle just taken out now.
And we see they're trying to actually put some pink wards of their own down. They do have one starting out by Wraiths now. Looks like they're trying to gain back a little bit of ground because their resources and towers are falling quickly.
I do have to applaud High, though, because I always am rooting for the Assassins to pick up their own sweeper so they can create their own picks, and they don't have to rely on their team to clear out vision for them. He has got it on LeBlanc. Very excited for that because LeBlanc is the one that's looking for those picks right now. She's got her Deathfire Grass. She's at the point where she wants to be in the position to 100% one of these guys.
And actually just going out, sweeping a ward up by Wraiths to make sure they can do it as soon as possible. Sweeping that out, he actually heads towards the top lane because he's got some minions to farm.
Yeah, he's really just been on cleanup duty. This LeBlanc has not had the opportunity to get into position for those kills because he's rushing back and forth, trying to clean up all of these minion waves.
It's not working as well as it did on Teemo, but this is basically what he did on Teemo. Run to a lane, clear it out, run to a lane, clear it out. Right now, their mushrooms are those pink wards, and they're keeping the vision up in their favor.
That W max on LeBlanc that everybody does
Easy
now
wave clear.
is pretty much the only way to go, especially if you're going to play like this.
We got 3,000 gold in the favor of Cloud9, which Curse has actually been doing a good job of keeping quite consistent. Yes, they are behind, but they are not letting that grow to a terrible amount, and it's what's really been keeping them in the game. We haven't seen a full team fight of this damage amplification yet.
Yeah, I mean, well, since they're taking the non-action path and they're just farming up, trying to rely on the Vladimir and the Jack scaling, they're going to continually seed these dragons away to Cloud9, so the gold lead will increase. It just takes that respawn dragon every 6 minutes, trying to wait on that for the extra gold for Cloud9 to build up their lead more and more.
It just makes it so much harder when you easily give 3 dragons away like that, but Curse can't do much. They are biding their time until they can get a grouped fight. We'll see the full fruition of that damage. Maybe now. Are they going to try to lead something up? No. Just 2 wards.
3 wards? 2 wards.
Or
Nation
pink
has
wards.
his work cut out for him. 6 auto attacks. Gonna be strenuous.
He's probably scary. He's like, he doesn't know what's on the other side of that wall, though.
So that's what the lantern is for there.
Well, yeah, after it went down.
6 auto attacks took way too many. Yeah, it took too long.
Right.
The lantern ran out by the time he had to clear all those.
More Cloud9 in the middle. Looks like we may have a storm here in a second.
Yeah, so I really want to see if Curse decide to have Dominate try and initiate by going in invisible and then using the dash plus Cyclone, or if they just rely on Zekent's flash tibbers, because that one is instant. And if Dominate uses his W anywhere near vision, Cloud9 will notice that he stopped moving and just immediately start backing off, which makes that engage hard.
Oh, man, going for the 4-man
over
bushwhack
the wall,
high
kills,
over the wall. Where's the
definitely
board?
a possibility.
Oh, he tries to go. He gets the chain on the first one. He's got the blue buff. He gets the second chain. There's the damage. There's the last Q from high, and the fight's already engaged at the bottom of the Baron, Kobe. The ultimate comes down. A beautiful hit from Draven. Sneaky getting a kill for himself. Boy gets turned on. Very low damage there, and he can't spell vamp enough life back. It is going to be high going down, but they turn the fight back onto Cop, and they may just turn to Baron.
Sneaky got a kill in there, too. Draven just shot through the roof. He's got a huge amount of gold. Oh, get in front!
Oh, this is going to be a very scary Baron. No, it's
no
just
way.
Kate up. Yeah, no.
Baron says, get out of my house.
Cannot have.
He almost took down Lemonation there.
He almost took down a lot of them. There were 2, 3 that were low.
All right, so up top, we already saw the high kill, but Lemonation goes in and gets the play. That's what I was talking about, the difficulty of the engage with Wukong. If you get off a poor ultimate like that, then it's going to be very hard to finish. These are the Draven Adoration stacks coming in. Another good play on top of the Rumble ulti.
Wow. And
decimates Quas.
That was a picture perfect fight coming in for Cloud9, and for Curse, needed to be more grouped up in that fight. 26 minutes in, it's now a definitive lead for Cloud9. 6,000 gold has been spread between them and Curse, and 2 turrets were grabbed.
I have to say, that was a beautiful job by Lemon, keeping everyone on top of Rumble Ultimate for as long as possible. They're one of the only teams that runs this champion. They've had so much practice working with it, and when Balls lays down his ultis in good areas, they do a great job of following it up.
Only 44 minions, or 34, I should say, away from 200 or 300. 2-0 and 1. It's sneaky. You can see him in the front of that fight trying to put down the first bit of damage. His flash is actually up from the last fight. He was able to quickly avoid the Wukong ultimate with W steroid. Get that adrenaline rush in. And we'll see him go and force the dragon again, Kobe. They want to force this fight.
Sneaky's so powerful, they can easily do this. And they have Elise as their jungler. It's just a 2-man screening squad down here of Lemon Nation and High, trying to ward off the Curse team away from Baron. Sacrificing 1 outer turret for Baron, 100% worth.
Yeah, they get a good move onto that one. The minion wave is in their favor, but they're not able to use any more of it because they still have to respect a Baroned up Cloud9 now. This is going to be tough.
I mean, Curse waited so long. Wow, Lemon does get a hook, but nobody around.
Huh. Nice hook on Not the Clone.
So that's the answer. What happens if Lemon lands a hook and nobody's around to see it? They walk away.
It's finally been answered.
What was I talking about, though? Oh, yeah. Curse. Curse were waiting so long for that picture-perfect engage. You know, they gave up all these dragons and all these objectives because they wanted to get to the point where they could land a post-level 11 Wukong ult with an Annie Tibbers. But since Annie was caught out before it even started, they never got the opportunity to stack those CCs. And it's really going to be the Cloud9 show now.
Lord, the mobility of Cloud9 is intense. They just went from mid to top with lantern tosses, High going over walls, and Curse couldn't even react to that.
They have no power here. They lost the Baron on top of all the gold that they just gave up. Too sneaky with those cashing in the Adoration stacks. It's very difficult for them. They have to turtle inside of the inhibitor turret line right now and hope for a poor dive from Cloud9 to capitalize.
Slowing things down a little bit here as High is going to be backing. He does go for that full kill potential build, but the Rabadon's not able to be squeezed in there before the Void Staff. A little bit of cut and gold it. Maybe High thought he wasn't going to get, or just knew he could build that right off the bat. So needlessly large rod is picked up for him as he's looking to finish up the Rabadons next. Voidboy's build has been pretty recipe as well. He went for that Spectral's Cowl, then he had the Revolver, and now he had the Mask, or Hunting Guys actually previously, so he's still putting things together.
Yeah, he went defense early for the lane phase, which worked. He was able to survive just fine against LeBlanc / oh, well, this is the other option. I said the only option was the turtle.
The Fnatic buy.
That's not true. I was wrong. You can also hope for a bush gank on a few unsuspecting members. Cloud9, though, have to play it careful, and even though they're so far ahead, they're sticking as a 5-man squad. Bush gank does not work if the whole team comes into your bush.
But this is what they need. They have to see everybody just bunched up together. Emo Plague with the Cyclone on top of that is going to be huge for them, but it's almost too conditional to have it happen. Like you said, the Wukong ult is very hard to hit.
Yeah, so as soon as they see the whole team is together, they're probably going to have to back off.
Oh, man.
Chris is going to wait for the day. Did he cop? No, he didn't get it.
I don't know, man. Hard hat's on.
I grabbed that sucker.
Hard hat's on. Oh, they go in. The Flash Timbers. The Equalizer is sitting on the entire team, but Cloud9 is shredding. Both teams are actually getting shred right now as the focus is perfect. Now into Quaz, turning onto Voyboy. It is going to be good Hemoplague kills from Vladimir, but it's not enough. Balls comes out on top with a triple kill.
And that was a desperation call right there. They knew that they had to pull off the combo to make it work, and even though the whole team was coming over to the bush, still tried to pull it off. I like the effort because they know that they are just going to lose the slow game if they wait it out, and they went for the big play that could get them back in this. Zekin leading it off, and they land 2 people, which is pretty good, setting up for Dominate to knock up a couple here. They end up getting sneaky off of this. So they take out that huge damage threat that's going to be life-stealing if you don't take him down early. Only problem is the rest of Cloud9 still around able to finish this one off. That's how they kind of wanted this to work out, though, with the Timbers setting up that Cyclone and following it in with the Vlad and Jack's damage just a bit too late because they didn't get the first team fight around Baron to go well.
A very high-risk strategy and situation they tried to pull off. With that loss, the minion wave was right behind them. That flows into an inhibitor turret in the bottom lane being down. And that inhibitor open with the lead that Cloud9 has is very stressful for Curse.
Yeah, and you know, I do respect that call. Just playing for it, trying to make it happen.
Jet said last time, if you're behind, you know, he likes teams that make those moves. They try. Sometimes it fails, but you got to try.
You don't want to just lose by default slowly.
Yeah.
But now, they're going to have to choose a different bush because Cloud9 are going to be looking at that one.
They got that one mowed.
Yeah.
Mowed it over.
That one is toast.
11-5, the kills, not really a huge factor in this game. They've won the lanes quite a bit. The CS is so much gold coming from these teams. 288 to 240 there. 250 to 239 is actually Shifter, or High rather, has been able to start beating Voyboy because of his babysitting of the lanes that were being pushed in his farming.
And that magic resistance isn't going to help at all here. 3 Void Staffs, and then Sneaky's got a Last Whisper. So any sort of defense that you try and put up, they're going to have penetration, percentage penetration, to get right through it. So at this point, you just have to build offense if you're Cursed, and hope for picking people off, getting insta-gibs on people, and relying on your CC as your defense, and then just pouring everything, all of your money, into offensive power.
Offensive power like a Zeke's Herald coming out of Elimination, actually. Great pickup there. The Talisman Ascension finish for them. He's looking to give Sneaky a little bit more.
So even on top of Bloodthirster-fed Draven here, who is really hard to take down because he lifesteals so much with his axes, amplifying the base damage. On top of that, Zeke's Herald, I mean, Curse is going to have to burst him down.
Whoa. Like that? That's the burst down on the other side. The flip side of it, Got going to get the Hemo Plague out of this one. Dominate's going very low, and he flashes out of the fight. Cloud9's able to pretty much just surround Curse and take them out in that engagement.
Boy didn't even get to play the game here for the last push. Cloud9 looking to end it.
It does look pretty definitive. 33 minutes into the game, a 14-5. Cloud9 was hungry coming off of last week's loss. They don't let it happen again, and they get the win over Curse. Very happy for them. Going to be able to really just relinquish what happened last week, not have to worry about it. I'm sure they went and watched the tape over and over and figured out what Dignitas really did to them that game, but didn't really seem like Curse had a chance after those first few engagements.
The game plan this time around looked pretty solid, and Sneaky and Lemonation down bottom with the early CS advantage did wonders for them, because not only were they able to get that gold lead for themselves, but also control of the bottom lane means control of Dragon. And Cloud9 starting off with the Dragons like that,
all of them,
just boosted them straight up there. So there was not a lot of counterplay for Curse.
And you have to consider this was a game that was an advantage out of champion select for Cloud9. I don't think that Curse came in here thinking we want to play Vladimir middle. We want to do this and that. Maybe a few of the lanes, obviously Wukong jungle is on the list for dominate, but Voyboy has been mixing it up, but I don't think that was a priority pick there.
Yeah, and taking these area of effect, team fighting, stun, combination, matchups have not really worked against Cloud9.
Right.
Every time they've come up against something like this, they deal with it pretty easily by splitting up, getting the global gold from objectives, and then the team fight team is so far behind at that point that they really only have one chance. And if you don't make it count the first time, stacking those things perfectly, then it snowballs into this situation.
Yeah. We saw the sweeper from Lemonation and a super aggressive early lane push from them, just taking both waves, the first two waves right to the turret in front of Cop and Zcant.
Yeah, and they never let up from there.
Never,
Even
ever.
though Meteos unable to gank mid because it's Vladimir. And then the first roam top didn't work out so well. They both had some successful moves around there, though. I feel like that top lane was played pretty well by both guys, the junglers and the top laners.
And then the junglers giving them help kind of one after the other. Was coming in for Dominate, getting a kill for Quas, and then Meteos got a kill for Balls, and then it just, Quas didn't get that much help because Dominate started having to fend for other people, fend for other lanes, and that's, I think, exactly.
It just goes to show, even though Balls is adapted to the tanky meta and he picked up those champions, he can still go right back to Rumble, classic champion for him, and destroy you with it.
It didn't create a problem that he almost got first blooded. He was able to kind of turn that guy, or no, he did get first blooded, and then they were able to turn it around. I said he had a mentality of a really good player, and he shows it.
He's always very calm. He moves around a lot, but doesn't talk very much, kind of like Cop.
Looking at Cloud9 now with really how they focus on things, it's to help each other out in the how they synergize their compositions. Everything there with what Balls built, he got the Rylai's so everybody else can catch up, and other items in that team synergize to help other lanes.
And we saw just in the play, too, Lemonation pulling people onto his ultimate, helping out there. Worked out really well.
All right, well, we've got to take a quick break right now, but when we come back, Meteos and Balls will join Jat to talk about their decisive win over Curse. Then we'll see if Dignitas can make it 5 in a row when they do battle with CLG. We'll be right back. Hard heads on, now they go in! The Flash Timbers, the equalizer is sitting on the entire team, but Cloud9 is shredding. Both teams are actually getting shred right now as the focus is perfect. Now into Quaz, turning onto Voyboy. It is going to be good Hemo play kills from Vladimir, but it's not enough. Balls comes out on top with a triple kill.